Number 9, Brasilia, Brazil. Brasilia, the capital of Brazil, was supposed to be the future of urban planning. It was designed in the 1960s by Lúcio Costa and Oscar Niemeyer with this big vision, separate zones for everything, government houses, shops, each in its own section. Sounds neat, right? But it kind of forgot about, people. The city is massive, spread out, and every building is isolated. To go grocery shopping, visit friends, or even walk to school, you need a car. And traffic here is a nightmare because the roads were designed for aesthetics, not for actual human movement. And while the streets are wide, they're also confusing, shaped like bird wings if you look from above. So if you're visiting, Google Maps is basically your only friend. And speaking of traffic nightmares, number 6 is going to make you cry. Number 8, Venice, Italy. Venice is stunning. It looks like something out of a painting, but living there, that's a whole different story. The city is built on water. Instead of cars, you have boats. Instead of wide streets, you have small passageways that can barely fit 2 people at once. Sure, canals are great for gondolas, but moving anything heavy? Impossible. Cars? Not happening. Infrastructure upgrades? Extremely difficult. And then there's flooding. Venice floods a lot, and while they have barriers and pumps, the city's layout makes it super vulnerable to rising water. There are more tourists than residents, and locals often struggle to get food, mail, and basic services. Plus, everything's so expensive because transportation is complicated. So, yeah, it's a photographer's dream, but living there, you're basically on a constant water adventure, and your groceries arrive by boat. Number 7, Dubai, United Arab Emirates. Dubai is one of the world's fastest growing cities, so it might feel strange to see it on a list of badly designed places, but once you look past the shiny towers and luxury hype, the problems become pretty hard to ignore. The city is built like a giant collection of islands, not real islands, but huge developments separated by long highways. Each cluster of skyscrapers feels like its own world, and nothing really connects in a natural, human way. If you try to walk anywhere, you'll quickly realize the city wasn't built with people on foot in mind. Sidewalks suddenly end, crossings are rare, and distances are huge. It's almost as if the city expects everyone to stay in their cars. And while many cities are known for their parks, plazas, and places where neighbors naturally meet, Dubai doesn't have much of that. Instead of green spaces, you have enormous malls, indoor ski slopes, and massive air-conditioned attractions. Fun, yes, but not exactly built for community. So if you're dreaming of a city where you can get to know your neighbors, have a picnic in a park, or simply get some outdoor exercise, you may want to avoid Dubai. Number 6, Jakarta, Indonesia. Jakarta is Indonesia's capital, the center of everything, business, politics, culture, yet it's also known as one of the most poorly designed cities on the planet, and the moment you try to move around it, you understand why. Millions of people live in the suburbs that stretch endlessly around the city, and most rely on cars to get anywhere. Add more and more new car owners each year, and you get the famous Jakarta traffic, the kind where people spend nearly 400 hours a year just sitting on the road. That's why Jakarta is often called the world's worst city for traffic, and honestly, it earns that title. The biggest problem, long-term solutions are almost impossible. Major infrastructure decisions depend on local government contracts that get renegotiated every single year. The result is a city where a simple commute that should take 20 minutes somehow stretches into 2 hours every single day. So if you think your city's traffic is bad, try living in Jakarta for a couple of years. Number 5, Dhaka, Bangladesh. Dhaka is the capital of Bangladesh, but the city has many problems that make daily life very hard. The biggest issue is the roads. Out of 650 big intersections, only about 60 have traffic lights, and many of those don't work. Because of this, the streets are always crowded and messy. On the road, you'll see everything at once. Rickshaws, buses, cars, bikes, motorcycles, and even cows. Everyone is trying to move at the same time, and there are almost no rules that people follow. Driving here is not just stressful, it can be dangerous. Because the transportation system is so bad, many people cannot live outside the city and travel in. They're forced to stay inside Dhaka, which is already very full. This leads to many slums, where people live with poor water systems, bad sanitation, and little space. Dhaka's infrastructure needs a complete rebuild. Without big changes, the same problems will continue. Millions will keep living in poverty, and millions will keep fighting for space on the roads every day. Number 4, Missoula, Montana, USA. Missoula looks like a peaceful mountain town, but its street layout tells a very different story. According to local legend, the mess started long ago when 2 brothers were in charge of planning the city. They got into a huge argument halfway through the job. Instead of fixing the fight, each brother designed his own street grid from opposite ends of the city. When the 2 grids finally met in the middle, everything clashed. Locals now call that spot Malfunction Junction, and the name fits perfectly. But that's one version of the story. Another says the confusion came from the Salant Streets, a neighborhood where two lawyers wanted to build a completely new town with their own street pattern. The city rejected the idea, but the lawyers' diagonal streets were already there, so the city built the rest of the streets in a normal grid, but the two patterns didn't match at all. No matter which story you believe, the result is the same, a maze of strange turns, bad intersections, and roads that seem to point in every direction. Trying to make a simple left turn can feel like solving a puzzle. Missoula is charming, but its streets are a whole different adventure. Number 3, Tokyo, Japan. Now, let's fly over to Tokyo. Wait, Tokyo? Isn't that a tech paradise with amazing trains? Sure, but Tokyo grew slowly over centuries and many old neighborhoods still follow old street patterns. That means the roads can be thin, twisty, or oddly shaped. Many streets don't even have names. Finding your way around can feel confusing, especially if you're new. Homes and shops are squeezed into small spaces. A lot of buildings have unusual shapes simply because there wasn't enough land to build normally. Tokyo works because everyone follows rules. But if you're not used to it, the design can feel unfamiliar and hard to understand. Number 2, Mumbai, India. Mumbai is a city where every bit of space feels precious. Millions of people live on a thin stretch of land by the sea, so the city grows upward, outward, and wherever it possibly can. This makes daily life feel tight, almost like the whole city is holding its breath. Trains during rush hour become their own wild experience. People pack in so closely that you don't even need to hold on. The crowd holds you up. The roads are always buzzing too. Cars, autos, buses, and bikes squeeze through narrow lanes that were never meant for so much traffic. Buildings stand shoulder to shoulder, leaving very little room for open spaces, yet people still travel long distances every day. A short trip on the map can easily turn into an hour or more in real life. Mumbai is loud, alive, and full of ambition, but living here often feels like running a marathon you didn't sign up for. Number 1, Atlanta, Georgia, USA. If you're thinking about moving to Atlanta for an easy, peaceful commute, you might want to rethink that plan. Atlanta's traffic is famous, and not in a good way. The city exploded with growth in the 1980s and 90s, spreading outward in every direction. Neighborhoods stretched far from the center, but the roads and highways were never built to handle so many people. Today, the result is a non-stop traffic jam. Highways twist around the city in strange ways, and none of them seem to connect smoothly. Sitting in your car for hours becomes a normal part of daily life. A big part of the problem comes from disagreements about how to fix things. Different communities have different needs, and arguments about race and class make it hard for the city to agree on one plan. On top of that, Georgia ranks near the bottom in highway spending per person, which means the state isn't investing enough to solve the issue. Now, I want to hear from you. Which city do you think is the hardest to live in, and why? Drop your answer in the comments. Don't forget to like, share, and subscribe, and turn on notifications so you don't miss our next video. Thanks for watching.